Have you ever, dreamed of launching your own app? Maybe you've got this killer idea buzzing around or you just see a gap, something missing out there. But the moment you start looking into how, wow, it just becomes this like overwhelming mess, right? There are hundreds, maybe thousands of tools now, all shouting about how they solve everything, promising anyone can build anything. And now with this VIP coding thing, very important person coding where AI jumps in to help build apps, well, it sounds fantastic. But if you're not technical, maybe you're a founder, designer, marketer, it gets confusing really, really fast. Most people just get lost in all that noise and kind of give up, but you really don't have to. Today's Deep Dog, this is going to be your shortcut. We want to give you a clear step-by-step path, taking that idea, turning it into a real launchable app. And the kicker, without writing a single line of code yourself. Our mission today is basically to help you pick the absolute best tools for each specific step, whether that's low code, no code, AI, or maybe some clever mix of all three.
Yeah. And what's really fascinating here, before we even jump into the tools themselves, is just understanding the basics, the fundamental pieces of any working app. Think about it, right? Every app has a front end. That's the part you actually see and touch the buttons, the screens, the forms. Then there's the back end. That's like the engine room, handling all the logic behind the scenes. What happens when you click that button? The back end figures it out. You also absolutely need databases. That's where all the information lives, like a giant digital brain for your app. You mentioned Spotify earlier. I mean, think about it. It's essentially this massive database constantly serving up exactly the right song or artist instantly for millions of people. It relies heavily on things like SQL queries to do that. And then you've got APIs. These are like messengers, letting your app talk to other services, maybe fetching the weather or chatting with a powerful AI model, And finally, hosting. You need somewhere to actually put your app so people can access it online. So the really important question for us today is, how do all these sort of abstract pieces actually click together when you're not the one writing the code?
That really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Because for so long, understanding those components, let alone building them, felt completely out of reach unless you were deep into coding. But that's what's changing so dramatically. So, okay, let's dive into that step-by-step journey, turning that abstract idea into something real, something tangible that works. All right, so you got that spark, that idea. How do we actually start making it real? We begin with phase one, idea and validation. And the very first step, maybe the most crucial, brainstorming. And really, there are kind of two ways people start here, right? Either you've already got that brilliant idea, it's fully formed, or maybe you need a little help getting there.
Exactly. And this is where AI brainstorming tools are just, well, indispensable now. What's really interesting is seeing how AI chatbots think Claude, ChatGPT, DeepSeek can help you take a vague idea and really solidify it, or break a bigger idea down into like the core building blocks. And it's worth mentioning Grok 3 by xAI2. Its unique selling point is that real-time access to places like Reddit and X. That's pretty crucial if you need super current market analysis for your idea. Let's take a concrete example, one from the sources. The idea of a smart calendar app. I mean, look around. Everything's getting AI superpowers, right? Docs, spreadsheets, notes. But calendars, they still feel kind of manual, stuck in the past. You're still clicking slots, typing everything in. So the idea is, let's build a smart calendar to fix that, to bring AI into scheduling. You can go to something like Claude, feed it that basic idea, and literally within seconds, it can spit out a pretty comprehensive project requirements document. It basically outlines everything the app should do, saving you the trouble of defining every single little feature yourself.
Okay, wow. So you've got the idea, maybe even that detailed requirements doc from Claude, and this feels like a huge pitfall. How do you actually know if anyone wants this thing? Or, even better, if they pay for it, it feels like a massive risk just jumping into building without knowing if there's a real market. So what's the smart way to validate that demand without burning tons of time and effort? That brings us to step two, validating demand.
Yeah, stepping back for a second, validation is just critical. Doing it early avoids so much wasted effort down the line. And the best way, really, is pretty straightforward. Build a landing page. Make it look good. Make it ambitious. Lay out what your app will do, what the future offerings are, and crucially, include a mailing list sign-up. Then you got to market that page a bit. See who bites. The general advice is aim for at least, say, 50 signups. That usually indicates there's enough interest to proceed. And tools for this? There are tons. Lovable for Sales Viso, Bubble, Webflow, Framer, Card. Lots of options. But our top suggestion here, especially if you're aiming for simplicity and speed, is probably Framer. It's just got this great balance. Lots of templates, easy to use, built-in integrations. It feels almost like Canva. You're just copying and pasting graphics, text. And it handles things like mailing lists easily, so you avoid those admin headaches. Oh, and for the actual words on the page, the headlines, the feature descriptions, you can just bounce back to Claude or whatever AI you're using, and ask it to generate that copy for you. It's like having an instant marketing assistant.
Okay, this next part. This is often where people who want to build apps but don't have design skills just hit a wall. They think, I need to be a designer. But the really amazing thing now is you actually don't need formal design skills to get started, which is huge. So this is phase 2, design and build. And we're on step 3, designing your application. You have mentioned there are kind of 2 main ways to approach this. Can you walk us through those?
Absolutely. And the real revelation here is just how much AI has democratized the design process. But yeah, there are different philosophies on how to leverage it. So method A is what we could call AI-driven design. This is where you basically hand the reins over to the AI, let it do the heavy lifting. Tools in this space include things like Repit, Agent, SoftGen, Lovable, Bolt. Our recommendation based on the sources is lovable.dev. It seems to hit a sweet spot with its design capabilities and, importantly, integrations with GitHub and Supabase, which we'll get to. The process is almost ridiculously simple. You take that project requirements document, maybe the one Claude generated, and you just copy-paste it into Lovable's chat. And then the AI just creates the whole app for you. Front end, back end, the user interface, even sets up the databases. Now, the UI flow part, making sure screens connect logically, that might take the AI a little bit longer because it's actually trying to follow proper design principles, but still, it's happening automatically. So for our smart calendar example, Lovable generates an app that looks, well, pretty similar to calendars you already use. It's got search built in, maybe a little smart assistant panel on the side for managing tasks. You can talk to it, ask it to add things, you can scroll, click events, create new ones. It just works smoothly, and you haven't written a single line of code. Then there's method B, which is more AI-assisted design. Here, you're starting with existing designs and using AI to help build from them. A common combo here is Figma, which is super popular for design work, plus a tool called V0 from Vercel, which is specifically a front-end builder. The process looks like finding calendar app templates, maybe from the Figma community, and then importing those designs into V0 to start building the interface. Now, using Figma and V0 might give you like pixel-perfect control if you're already comfortable with visual design tools. It could potentially result in a better-looking app aesthetically, maybe. But the real advantage of something like Lovable, especially for a non-technical founder, is that it's an entire ecosystem. It's not just the front end. Changes happen right there. You see the whole system evolving. It means fewer handoffs between tools, faster feedback loops, and honestly, less chance of getting bogged down in technical issues later. Lovable's focused on enabling the complete build front to back, not just a pretty picture.
That AI-driven design with Lovable, it sounds almost too easy. I mean, does that mean you click a button and boom, you have a fully functional app right away? Or is there still a building part? And you mentioned something earlier that really stuck with me. No coding, but leveraging code. That sounds like a contradiction. Can you unpack that for us? This gets us to step 4, building your app. Still no coding, but somehow involving code.
Huh. Yeah, it does sound a bit like a riddle, doesn't it? But it's a great question because it hits on exactly what makes this new approach so powerful. So Lovable gets you a design and the basic structure, the code for that structure. But to make it fully interactive, to connect all the dots, there's another step. You need to bridge the gap between Lovable's output and a truly functional app. The key is exporting that code Lovable, generated into what the source calls a full-stack AI app builder. Tools here include Windsurf, Cursor, and Zed. And the recommendation for the material we looked at is Cursor. Exporting from Lovable is super simple. You literally just click the GitHub icon inside Lovable, log in if needed, and bam, the code gets sent to your own GitHub repository. Then you use a simple command that looks like a terminal command, but you're just copying and pasting it, not writing code, to pull that code from GitHub directly into Cursor. And here's the crucial bit. You take that same project requirements document from the beginning and paste it again, this time into Cursor. Why? Because now Cursor can read both the requirements and the actual code base Lovable generated. It understands what the app should do and what code it has to work with. Based on that, Cursor starts suggesting changes to make the app fully functional. And this brings us to that golden rule of VIP coding we mentioned. For speed and efficiency, especially if you're non-technical, the advice is accept suggestions blindly. Now that sounds maybe a bit reckless. But the insight here is about trusting the AI to handle the coding details rapidly. Trying to double-check every line of AI code kind of defeats the purpose if your goal is speed and launching quickly. You're leveraging AI to bypass the traditional coding bottleneck. Your focus stays on the bigger picture, the user experience, not the nitty-gritty code. And by following this, accepting those suggestions, you very quickly get to a point where the app is fully functional. The calendar works, maybe there are analytics dashboards that work, integrations are live. You might even be able to add tasks just by talking to it. And just like that, you've built a working app, still without actually writing code yourself.
That is Genuinely astonishing. It completely flips the script, doesn't it? From slow, meticulous coding to this rapid assembly and letting the AI handle the details. Okay, so we've brainstormed the idea, we've validated the demand, we've designed it, and now we've actually built a functional version using these AI tools. What's the final hurdle? Step 5, launching your application, getting it out there for the world to see.
Right, the final step. And putting this in context, deploy an app, getting it live online, can often be surprisingly complex, even for seasoned developers. Lots of things can go wrong. But again, modern tools make this incredibly simple for you. Like, really simple. Vercel is a great example here. So from inside Cursor, where you just finished building, you commit your changes back to GitHub, you write a little message about what you did, or hey, you can even ask the AI in Cursor to write the commit message for you. Then you sync the code. That pushes everything up to GitHub. After that, you just hop over to Vercel.com. You start a new project, tell it to import your repository from GitHub, the one you just updated, and then you click Deploy. And that's pretty much it. Within moments, maybe a minute or two, Vercel builds and deploys your application. It's live. You get a public link you can share with anyone. It's effectively a one-click launch. Pretty amazing.
Okay, so that whole process, idea to launch, is incredibly streamlined. That's a fantastic specific example. But let's zoom out a bit now for our deep dive bonus. Beyond that specific workflow, what are the broader categories of no-code and AI tools that anyone wanting to build any kind of app should probably know about?
That's a great way to frame it. Because while the specific tools we just walked through are powerful for that kind of app, understanding the overarching categories gives you a much better map for navigating this whole kind of exploding no-code and AI landscape. Okay, first up, full-stack app builders. These are the big guns. Tools that let you handle the front end, the back end, the databases, everything you need to build a pretty complex full-scale application from scratch. The prime example, the real OG no-code tool, as the source calls it, is Bubble.io. It's incredibly powerful. People have built huge businesses on Bubble marketplaces, internal tools, SaaS platforms. You hear stories of founders raising millions or building multi-million-dollar revenue streams with it. But the key insight, the thing to know about Bubble, is that even though it's no code, it has a really high barrier to entry. Learning its logic, its way of doing things, takes real time and commitment. You're not writing code, but you are learning a complex system. It's also primarily designed for web applications first. Another major player in this category is Flutterflow. This basically brings Google's Flutter framework, which is normally used by coders, into the no-code world. It's often preferred if you're building a mobile app first. And a neat feature is that you can actually export real Flutter code if you ever need to transition later. Unlike Bubble, though, Flutterflow usually requires you to connect to an external back-end service, like Supabase or Firebase, to handle the data and logic. Second category, automation tools. These are honestly the secret sauce for scaling almost any online business these days. They connect different apps together, sync data between them, and trigger automated workflows. The huge benefit, they eliminate all those tedious, manual, repetitive tasks that just eat up your time. Zapier is the giant here. It connects with something like, over 7,000 different apps. It uses these things called Zaps, which are basically automated workflows. You set a trigger, like someone filling out a form on your website, and then you set an action, like automatically sending them an email or adding their info to a spreadsheet. You can build surprisingly complex automations, even things like simple chatbots, all without coding. Another interesting one is TaskMagic. It's similar to Zapier, but its angle is video-based automation. You literally record a video of yourself doing a task on your computer, once clicking here, typing this, and TaskMagic turns that recording into an automation that can repeat the task for you. It's like creating your own little automated virtual assistant. Pretty clever. Third, front-end builders. These tools focus specifically on designing the visual part of your website or web app, the user interface. They give you drag-and-drop control to create really interactive, pixel-perfect designs without needing to mess with CSS or coding libraries. Hands down, the source called Webflow the best in this category. It really lets you build like a designer but think like a developer. It's fantastic for everything from beautiful landing pages to complex e-commerce stores. The power here is getting that high degree of visual control and interactivity, but purely through a visual interface. And yeah, as we mentioned earlier, Framer and Card are also strong contenders in this space, especially for simpler sites or landing pages. Fourth category, databases and spreadsheet tools. These are tools that kind of cleverly blur the lines between a simple spreadsheet and a more powerful database. They let you store, organize, and visualize your data, but also apply formulas, automations, and different views. The key insight is how flexible they make data management for non-technical users. Airtable is a huge name here. It's cloud-based, feels like a spreadsheet initially, but has much more database-like power for organizing complex information, projects, workflows. And the source notes that with recent AI integrations, Airtable has become a different beast altogether, offering even smart ways to analyze and work with your data. Then there's Glide. Glide is fascinating. It specifically takes data from spreadsheets like Google Sheets, Excel, even Airtable, and turns it into polished, functional mobile and web apps. As a drag-and-drop builder, offers charts, e-signatures, even offline capabilities. It's used by a ton of companies, apparently over 100,000, including some big names. It's a really fast way to build data-driven internal tools or simple customer-facing apps. Fifth category, mobile app builders. These are tools specifically geared towards designing, building, and then actually publishing mobile apps to the Apple App Store and Google Play Store, all without writing native code like Swift or Kotlin. A top pick highlighted is Adalo. It's a no-code platform using a drag-and-drop interface for both mobile and web apps. It supports publishing directly to iOS and Android, handles database integration, can process payments through Stripe, use location features. Basically, it gives you the core components needed to build and monetize real mobile apps. And maybe a final bonus category that overlaps with some of the others, AI app builders. These are the tools specifically designed to let you embed machine learning or AI features into your apps without needing to be an AI expert or write complex algorithms yourself. We saw several of these in action in our main example tools like Windsurf, Zed, Cursor, Lovable, Bolt. They really represent the cutting edge, acting almost like an intelligent code developer, helping you build smarter, more capable applications faster than ever before.
Wow. That was an incredible tour through the landscape. It really paints a picture of just how much is possible now. So, just to recap for everyone listening, we've walked you through that entire journey, from getting that initial idea sparked, maybe using AI, through validating demand with a landing page, designing and building a functional app using tools like Lovable and Cursor, and finally launching it with something like Vercel, all without touching traditional code. For anyone who thought building an app was totally out of reach, hopefully you now see there's a clear path. You've got a powerful toolkit available.
Absolutely. And bringing it all back home, the bigger picture here is pretty profound, I think. The rise of all these tools, no-code, low-code, AI assistants, it's fundamentally democratizing creation. It's breaking down those old barriers that required years of specialized technical training. It genuinely empowers anyone with a good idea and the drive to build something, which really leads to a final important question for you, the listener. Given everything we've just explored, this deep dive into no-code and AI-powered app building, what idea do you have? What previously impossible app project might you finally be able to bring to life now? What problem have you been itching to solve that suddenly feels a whole lot more achievable?